Administrator Flowers, I realize you're briefly on the job, but in MAP 21, we gave new regulatory authority to FTA over transit safety, and yet some critical aspects of that rule are still lingering somewhere. I don't know whether they're down with the trolls at OMB or where they are. And, what's your expected timeline to get all those done?
Were you asking about FAST Act and MAP 21?
Well, there's things left over from MAP 21
Okay.
where we gave you the new regulatory authority where there are still pending rules to fully implement that.
We just issued the State Safety Oversight Rule on March 16th, and we have several other rules that are in the process right now. We have the Public Safety Program Rule that is going to do the process of review now at DOT, and so expect that to be a final rule by midsummer. The National Public Transportation Safety Plan, this comment period ended on April 5th, and FTA expects to issue that in early fall. We have the Public Safety Transportation Agency Safety Plan, and that is also going to be out in early fall. And we also have the Safety Certification Training Plan, which we expect to come out in midsummer.
Okay, thank you. Just if you can stay on top of those and make certain that they continue through the process. You mentioned the same thing I did in my opening statement, or one of the things, about the backlog and deferred maintenance. Obviously a lot of it lies with the larger legacy systems, and this is a legacy system at this point, although we have much older legacy systems, and as I pointed out, it's really not an adequate amount of funds. So, you've had a chance and begun to look at WMATA, and there's a lot of focus on them. But do you believe that this problem could be more widespread given the deficiency in funding and the accumulated backlog for state of good repair?
Yes, sir. You mentioned there was an $84 billion backlog on a national level. Our estimates that it's about $86 billion, growing at $2.5 billion a year. And as you indicated, WMATA is one of those systems. The legacy systems probably make up 40% of that backlog. And so, although the administration has asked for additional funding for infrastructure, we haven't seen that, that funding has come, and it does create an issue, and it makes it a challenge for all transit agencies to look at their priorities, and you see that challenge here in D.C. with WMATA, where they have to make a decision about what they can do with their available funding.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So when your inspector workforce, you're just standing up essentially your first inspector workforce, and their focus right now is WMATA. When do you expect that you'll have adequate staffing to begin to go out and look at other legacy systems?
We have a focus right now on WMATA, and we have 13 FTEs that are basically focused on that area. We have done technical assistance in other areas where we have found problems, but we have been given additional authority, but not, the funding to basically address that authority.
So you have 13 inspectors total.
13 staff. There's probably only 5 inspectors and 2 investigators.
So we have 5 inspectors and 2 investigators for the Federal Transit Administration to oversee all of the transit agencies in the United States of America. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's interesting. Wonder how long it would take if they spent 10 minutes at each one, how many years that would be, let alone an in-depth look. I hope that Congress will soon allocate additional funds for the new obligations we put on your agency. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair.
And thank you. I now